You're listening to another Geek Pride podcast.
Hello everyone and welcome again to the Geek Pride podcast, attempt 2. Because we were, our quality was just too high for anyone to handle.
That was it. We were 1080ing it when really life is 720.
Yeah, life is 720, and unfortunately here at Geek Pride we believe it being 1080 or higher.
Yeah.
And there's a real problem caused by that.
Yeah.
So I'm Sean Wallace, and I'm joined here by two absolute mammoths, intellectual giants. We have here the man himself, Sam Larry.
Well, I would have said Matt Geary was the man himself, but thank you for that, just passing that over to me. I'm, of course, guest here, and I cannot outshine the magnificence, the brightness of his pale skin, the colour of his red flaming locks, Matt Geary.
I'm not totally red. It's my beard. It's in that. Maybe I've got a bit of an Auburn sort of thing going on.
Yeah,
Auburn,
definitely.
Auburn. Yeah. Well, cheers, guys. Thanks for coming down to play with me. Hey, you mucky cows.
Is phrasing still a thing? Are we still doing phrasing?
Yeah. So for everybody who didn't watch the last attempt at this podcast,
Or indeed the live stream itself.
or the live stream itself,
4 hours, near 5 hours of it.
for its International Tabletop Day today.
It is.
And Ben Fee, the legend that he is, put a lot of effort into creating a Call of Cthulhu RPG mission for us.
For those of you who don't know, Call of Cthulhu is, of course, based on the H.P. Lovecraft works. And you'll probably have heard of it. Big monster, loads of tentacles, wants to destroy the world, that kind of thing.
And Cthulhu was the guy who created.
Fair enough.
Yeah, that was a terrible joke. That's what we get around the table.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we've just played Call of Cthulhu. It was a really
dressed
well-run
up.
game. Yes, we are all dressed up, so people watching this on Facebook Live can see clearly,
If you haven't watched this or you're listening to it, check out our YouTube or our Twitch for it'll basically be the live stream. There will be edited versions of it. There may also be an edited version on Facebook at some point in time too.
Exactly, and you'll see just how spiffy we look.
Yes, indeed.
Absolutely. They've got Lord of the Manor, we've got the Hoodlum, and we've got like a pinstripe weirdo in between the two.
Well, what do they call them? It's not a cad. He was a what do they call them? When
Peacock?
Dandy?
A dandy.
Dandy,
Were you a
yeah.
dandy?
A bit of a dandy.
A bit of a dandy, yeah.
Still am.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
Oh, sorry, we were talking about the character you were playing. All right, okay.
So we were. Shall we explain what Call of Cthulhu is about and how it was played, etc. and stuff?
Yeah. So just give a very brief overview for everyone. It's a percentile based game, so you've got skills that are between like 1 and 99, and you've got to roll underneath the skill in order to succeed. You have to excuse me, I'm a little distracted because Matt's trying to make him get the best angle for himself.
That's part of my face.
With the camera.
This part of my face is the best part of the face.
Yeah, he's giving. If you're watching this on Facebook Live, you'll see you've now got the best view, literally at this moment.
It's
now,
pretty slick,
as
actually.
we're looking up there. I have to admit, I don't like my profile, so I know that I keep looking around and I'm like, oh god, I've got so much profile going on.
There's
I can't
actually
change
almost an evolution of the beard going on. You've got almost 12 o'clock, so you got a bit better, and then of course this magnificent beast here.
that. I am very envious of your beard. I would have more of a beard, but I've got just the patchiest hair. It's just appalling.
Well, of course, a beard is actually just a feeling of actual bodily hygiene. I've just let it grow, Let it grow, let it grow.
Well, we got Ben watching at this moment in time, so a big thank you for Ben for
Hi, Ben.
Hi, Ben. Thanks for doing the RPG for us, man. It was really good. It's a shame you've had to leave before the podcast, but
you're here with us in spirit,
yeah,
if not in person.
yes, and he didn't mess with us too much this time. I think he was quite. What's the word?
Generous.
Gentle.
Yeah.
Gentle.
I think sort of certain things we were like, yeah, you can't do that, and he did give us every chance.
Yes, we did succeed.
Yeah.
Like by our measure that we talked about in the last podcast of not dying.
Yeah.
All 3 players survive to the end.
Yeah.
So just to continue from what you were saying, Sean, you were obviously explaining about it being a percentile game, so we're rolling on 2d10 dice. Do you want to give us a quick premise of what the actual storyline was? Before, without going into too much detail, like who were we, what were we trying to achieve, that sort of thing.
Yeah, so for the session, it's pretty, like, again, Ben's used an existing module and I think adapted it slightly, so it worked very well. Standard module of, really sort of standard Cthulhu module, that something bad has happened in the past and a bunch of randomers get drawn into it based on some connection between them, something like that. In our case, we were all going to see a dear old professor who was dying of cancer, which was a lovely, cheery start to the game, in fairness.
Well, it's called Cthulhu all over, isn't it?
It's
Misery
true.
to begin with.
Did you just pull fun snaps out of
I
your pocket?
did. I actually had props for this. Fun snaps, for anyone that remembers, they might have also been called devil bangers, the little explosives that you can throw down.
Wow.
And what I intended on doing was sneaking some onto the floor, and then when the gun came into action or something happened, I was just going to go BANG! And just see who got a fright. But sadly, I totally forgot about them.
Yeah. You also forgot that devil bangers have the most pathetic bang when it comes to
It's like,
puff, 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 and they'd be all like, who swibbed?
yeah, it'd have more of an impact if you just said bang.
Or I could just take the entire bag and
Yeah.
stomp on it.
Blow a
Yeah.
hole in my slightly scuff my floor with the
Well, and how did Sam lose his foot? Well,
It was a gunpowder accident. That sounds pretty badass, actually.
that does
you know?
sound more badass than it was.
It was actually going to be
It's a snap.
fun snaps went wrong.
Yeah, back to the game.
Yeah.
It's not something that I have ever that sort of RPG is not something I've played before. Generally, I'm running and gunning and shooting and slashing and such like that. So you've got to think, but not overthink, just in case. It's good, and it's literally the fact that you're the insanity part of it, and it helps you it builds up tension. Towards the end, I was feeling quite sort of tense because we were getting to the end, things were happening. As soon as you lost your mind and started going, I don't give a fuck, and you were going to leave, I was like, fuck.
And my character, not me myself, I didn't throw a wobbly or anything like that.
I am sick of this.
I suppose characters, it might make sense to people at home. My character was never that hugely strong. Anyway, my name of my character was Tom Doyle. I was actually a criminal, and I had a mystery. Did you guys manage to work out what my mystery was?
Is
My
it that you were a
secret?
criminal?
It wasn't that I was a criminal. that was out there from the beginning. I was quite an honest criminal. But maybe no, I was actually wanted for murder. And that's why every time the police appeared, suddenly I had an excuse to leave.
And what was your?
I had tuberculosis.
Who were you, first of all?
I had tuberculosis. I know,
That
but
was your test.
I think
That's
Ben forgot to do it. But that constitution, I did do a constitution test at one point, and nothing happened. So maybe that was that.
I had a drinking problem, so I just kept going off and drinking, which worked fine.
Who were you both again? Who were you again, Sean?
So I was just Charles Armitage.
Yeah.
A young raconteur, basically just a hedonist who joined the army solely to enjoy killing people for a while.
I was an ex-brigadier general who knew Professor Armitage from back in my war days, fighting the Zulus and the Fuzzy Wuzzies and all the other sort of natives in Africa and such. And I was 66 years old.
6'6" years old.
6 years old. I don't know if I said that. 6'6", 66 years old, and was doing really well in my roles until the very end.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I was literally, me and Sean got ones,
Yeah.
which was in these sort of games, lower's better.
I know, but Sean got a 1 when a 1 was the only thing. 1 out of 100.
Right, it did. It was
He
literally.
got the
Sean was
one.
like,
Everything else was a
let's just
fail.
roll it, and he got a 1, and I was
Yeah.
like, whoa.
We go
That
mental.
was
We do
probably
go
one of
mental.
In fairness, the weirdest thing I've had, which was far less likely, was also during a Call of Cthulhu game, where it was GM and 3 players, similar setup, and we each the players had to roll whether to succeed or fail a listen check, and I rolled 100. The next person rolled 100. the third person rolled 100. So a 1 in a million chance happened. And we all critically failed listen checks. So the GM was just, obviously we fell over ourselves laughing because it's a 1 in a million, literally 1 in a million. And the GM says, right, you'll take 3 points of damage because your ears have started bleeding.
Yeah, myself and Sean, because we critically failed our listen test, had to basically get hooked into our chanting towards the end. Then you got awoken by
him stealing my gun.
Yeah, by him stealing your gun, and then went insane because you saw the zombie.
I did.
And you ran off, which left me on my own. And then
and I've already gone insane at this point. There was a zombie coming in the window, and apparently my guy's never read any zombie books or any movies, so doesn't know to go for the head. So I kind of lost
back
it.
in the 20s,
zombies
weren't quite as much.
I'm
of
a criminal. I'm a hardened man. I'm wanted for murder, but I just lost it. I became a proper psychotic. Like, no feelings. I didn't care about you.
It was the
you
fact that I think
bags.
Ben was sort of tussling with himself to see why you could stay.
Yeah,
it was like
exactly.
it was just like, in theory you should literally just leave this house, and you were arguing with him for ages to say, look, it's better for me to stay here.
Yeah, it was better for me to stay.
And luckily we got you to stay.
Yeah, I fast talked the GM, who made me roll a fast talk to convince the GM. It was pretty beautiful, actually.
And it was sort of basically Sam, who literally failed every roll. What was your tally?
So I had over 50, I think it was 53 rolls. Of 53 rolls, I passed 16. I failed 11 critical. A critical fail means I rolled 95 or higher. So 11 critical fails. The rest of those were fails. That makes about 28, and then 1 critical success. So I had failed a lot.
So basically, we were mocking him the whole way through it. I think I failed like 2 rolls in the whole game, and if it weren't for Sam, we would have died. We would have lost completely. It was towards the end.
It was incredible. Like the joke was, why? Of course he failed. Why did he even try? Because it's just so consistent with the failure. It's absolutely like 11 out of 53.
Yeah,
that's like there's a 1 in 5 chance of having a critical fail. A critical fail is actually a 1 in 20 chance. So out of 50 odds,
beating the odds,
2 or 3, not 11. It was. It's the best thing was, for very, very briefly, you disappeared during the course of this to go and nip to the loo. So I played you for a second, and whilst I was playing him, I succeeded my rolls. So it wasn't the character that was.
I even tried changing dice, so it wasn't even the dice.
No, it was all down to you, Sam.
But I had a massive test at the end there. Like, it was like, oh, could I pick this up? And he was like, I don't know, and then bam, nailed it.
Yeah, but the fast talking, I think he said doing that fast talk and picking up the chant. And that was it.
Just
Had you not done
it.
that, it would have been game over.
Oh yeah,
and we would have been dead and stuff. But yeah, that was good. I was feeling quite anxious towards the end of that one, and so yeah,
it just went to hell in a can cart. We were doing actually all right. I mean, apart from I think it's not just the fact that I messed up for the rest of the game. I messed up colossally. I just managed to almost get the police on us after threatening your cousin, uncle. I'm never really sure.
Uncle.
He's a bit of a knob.
And the locals in the pub.
And the locals in the pub. And the librarians in 2 different libraries. And the local... everyone.
Yes.
Matt was my saviour, essentially. he was my caretaker, despite the fact my guy having 5 more intelligence points than his character.
I mean, it's not about intelligent. I think it was just basically measured, old age. I was a bit more measured and sort of like, I would sit back and let the sort of kind of the whippersnapper do his thing, and I go, right, okay. But yeah, that was good. I enjoyed that. I did.
It was very, very good. I'm glad I played it. It was, and again, International Tabletop Day. Hopefully, maybe one more person will play a Call of Cthulhu game. At least definitely one is.
You were saying that you were actually saying, just again, the podcast we started before this. This was an RPG. Sometimes it's a little bit intimidating for people to, one person having to take all that work on.
Yes.
We were very lucky. We had the fabulous Ben Fee there. But you said that there might be board games that are sort of based on the Cthulhu mythos. Might be similar to this.
So you get board games like Arkham Horror, which is a cooperative game where you play against like the encroaching evil. It's a different encroaching evil depending on, like, it can be Cthulhu or it can be...
you pull a card at the start and they do different things.
Yeah, and that determines... So the games all, like, essentially strange things keep happening throughout the course of the game.
Yeah.
And whichever is the major thing, like Nyarlathotep or Shub-Niggurath or Cthulhu that you're trying to thwart, also changes the way that the game plays out as well. So there's very good replayability in it, but it's very difficult.
Yeah, I've played it twice, and we played it twice for a long time, and we lost both times. I got swallowed in the first game, and the second game something happened. I can't even remember what it was, but
probably went mad or something.
Yeah, I lost. We just sort of. It's a very hard game to master, and there's a lot of expansions for it as well.
Yeah.
Is it quite an easy game to learn though?
Oh yeah, it's
relatively.
It's quite easy to learn and stuff. It's a hard game. Again, it's another game. Like I have these things that, you know, in my mind, I'm like, I don't like any game which doesn't have miniatures. I don't like sort of games which don't imply, you know, any game. When we were going to play this, I was like, I really don't want to play Call of Cthulhu and stuff because it's not something I'm used to. But it's the same with like card games. I never would have played those games, but once you get into them, it's like, yeah, really enjoyed that and stuff. Yeah, I really like
you are very resistant to change.
Yeah, I'm very resistant to change.
You almost are your own 66-year-old character.
Yeah.
Back in my days, miniatures.
Yeah.
Have you played Risk? You've played Risk.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, of course.
Yes. I've never won a game of Risk ever.
Wow.
Never won a game of Risk simply because all my friends know that I'm good at it to a point, but I'm overstretched myself, and then they all pick on me because they know that, you know, one, I don't like losing, and two, it's funny to watch me lose. So everybody picks on me. I've got actually Risk Legacy, which hasn't been opened.
Oh yeah,
is that the one where the board game evolves?
Yeah, so basically you put stickers on things, and as people, you can only play it a certain amount of times, but it evolves as each time goes, so you can play it different times, and it changes, and that looks like it could be a good game. Yeah, but if we had a few of us who could play it regularly and see how it evolved as it went on, that would be quite good.
That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah. So yeah.
Well, we're saying maybe next weekend if we can. Dark Souls board game.
Yes.
Because I'm sorely disappointed mine hasn't arrived, and I know people whose copies has arrived.
Yeah, I'm the same. Yeah.
Yeah, Paul Gibson's, my mate Paul Gibson's, has turned up and stuff. So
yeah, but I know where mine is because I can track it.
All right.
It's currently in a Leeds depot.
Did you get a tracking code through Kickstarter or
through the backer kit?
Backer kit. I haven't received mine, which makes me somewhat concerned.
No, so it didn't get sent to me. You've got to log into your backer kit, and then you can see it.
All right. Oh, well, maybe I won't do that because that sounds frustrating.
Yeah, it's a little frustrating, but point is that it's definitely in Leeds awaiting me. So
I mean, that's going to be another game that we lose at.
Yeah, exactly. But
the You Will Die edition.
Exactly. But that's one we can maybe stream next weekend or something like that.
Yeah, we could do that. Yeah. So
definitely.
on the Sunday then, is it you're thinking coming down? Or the Saturday?
Saturday maybe?
Yeah.
I'm
I'm beginning to wonder if you guys are Maskus. First Call of Cthulhu, which is notoriously hard. Now Dark Souls. Now I haven't heard a massive amount about the board game, but if it's anything like the video games, You Will Die a lot.
Yep, you're looking at somebody who's done like minimum level run throughs of Dark Souls 2 and Bloodborne. So I do.
When you say minimum level,
you don't level up once throughout the entire.
You willingly choose not to level up.
Yep. Don't level up.
I call that a mental condition.
It's challenged. The way I say it is, I'm never going to climb Mount Everest, but I have beaten Ebrietas at blood level 4 on Bloodborne. So.
Wow. Okay.
All right, cool. So we'll do that. We've got a guy from. I'm not sure when this podcast will go out, to be honest, because I've got one backlog from our the Drowned Earth Kickstarter.
Oh, of course, yes.
That guys. So we're gonna stick in on. So depending when this is on, but we'll have one of the guys from
Geek and Son.
Geek and Son.
Yeah.
My God, the guys who brought us this beautiful table up to play some games on Saturday and Sunday of next week.
I'm so glad that I don't get to meet them actually, just to tell them how lovely it is. It really is a nice piece of work. It's a pleasure to play
table.
on.
It really is.
So we got that. So we're gonna play some games and over the weekend do some streaming and such. And yeah, my girlfriend's not impressed.
She should come and play.
Yeah.
The question is though, Matt, and again, people might not have seen this podcast or this video shoot yet. Was this game better than Pass the Pigs?
Pass the Pigs is a completely different kettle of fish. You know, there's a lot more. The thing about I like about is because it's quite fast and it's unpredictable, but it's the fact that there's no. I don't feel like I've got control of it. You know, I don't know where the control is.
I didn't feel much in control of that Call of Cthulhu game there, to be honest.
It's true.
Yeah, true, very true. Saying that, like, dice is random, but you feel like if you're rolling it,
Yes.
you've got some sort of control. Like, you know, your essence or your willpower will make this roll sort of better and stuff. And
So your essence will make it better, right? So what the heck does that say about me with my 28? Well, that would be a total of 39 fails. I mean,
Well,
you're
you're
a
the one
negative
who's,
person.
look at
you're
it
the
this
one who's
point.
pointed that out. Not us.
in any other game where it's a high numbers, you would have
Yeah.
done really well.
Yeah.
It's just
Oh
it's
no, it
lower.
doesn't work like that. It does not.
It would have reversed.
No, it does.
It would have reversed.
As you'll see as we play different games, you'll notice that a lot of the games I bring along now to these sort of recording sessions don't involve cards. Dice. You'll see that I'm a massive fan of Malifaux, because Malifaux is a miniatures game system which only uses a deck of cards.
Oh, right.
I mean, you could count cards, I suppose, but there's still an element of skill to it
Yes.
as well.
Yeah, my mate Russell's really into Malifaux. He keeps trying to. He bought me some guys which I made. I haven't painted yet, but
Yeah, I see their guild in there. If
Yeah.
George ever watches it, we're going to borrow your guild at some point.
Yeah.
He's got every model for guild there is currently painted, and I mean really nice.
Okay,
If you
cool.
guys ever want to come on a road trip to Carlisle, you can come down and see it. Up and see it.
Yeah, up to see it. Yeah. So yeah, that would game. But there's loads of games I need to play. Want to play. You know, I wanna have another game of Talisman. Right. Me and my brother and his girlfriend at the time and her daughter. We played a massive game of Talisman at Christmas, and it was like with all the expansions. It's massive. It's absolutely massive. I'm slightly gutted because Games Workshop, because they've sort of got rid of their thing with Fantasy Flight Games.
Yes.
They're bringing out their own Talisman again soon, and I'm sort of panicking because it'll just. I'm not sure if it's going to be the same or if it'll tie in with the ones I've already got.
Yeah, I think it will be entirely separate, I'm afraid.
And it's just going to be, I'm going to have to buy that again.
See, my friend is actually just gone mental. He's still trying to get all the expansions for Talisman.
Yeah.
I mean, if you ever decide to get rid of him, he will bite your hand off.
You know,
to
the thing
get
is,
them.
I've got the second edition Talisman there from when we were kids, which is like you get little card gold tokens and things like that. It's pretty much the same game. It's just sort of like, but back in the day, you could get expansions, and I remember one of the expansions you could get was, I think it was called Timescape, and you could be a space marine.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so you basically one of the expansions you could use the Talisman board and go into this other area, and one of the characters within that was a space marine, so you could be a space marine in Talisman.
Excellent.
Yeah, and I was trying to find them on eBay and stuff, but they're quite expensive.
Yeah,
Find them.
understandably.
Yeah. So yeah.
Sadly so.
Well, it's kind of like when you're reading I don't know if you ever read the stories of the end times of Warhammer, when they decided to
Yeah.
kill it.
The arch.
Anyway, moving swiftly on, there was obviously the characters, the elf, the wizard, etc., that went through into the Chaos Realms
Yeah.
to try and I mean, this
Yeah.
isn't really a spoiler, but they were saving a princess that was held by Nurgle, a goddess, and they actually encountered this massive knight who could shoot lightning out his hands.
All right, yeah.
That was a particular, I've forgotten what his name is, very famous
Grey Knight.
Drogal?
No,
No.
Drago.
Drago, it's something
Drago,
like
yeah,
yeah,
Drago.
the one that was banished for 1,000 years. He actually bumps into them, so that was their whole thing of this is fantasy world shattering and colliding with 40k. And then
Well,
of course they got
originally within like back in Rogue Trader days and
Yep.
stuff, even like sort of first few editions, the Warhammer world, the fantasy world, was surrounded by warp storms, was in the Warhammer 40k universe.
Yeah.
Oh,
It was
really?
just a planet within,
Ah.
covered in warp storms and stuff, so it was still technically, it was counted as being in the same place. It just went away from that as time went on.
Which makes sense because they both introduced like Slanesh.
Yeah, the same sort of gods and stuff.
Way,
Yeah. So it's just, I think they've sort of making a nod to it there when they've brought it back, that they were the same sort of worlds, effectively the
Wow.
same universe even. Sorry.
I got so excited about End Times as well, and then I'm not over it yet. It's too soon. Year and a half.
But the thing is, we have never played Fantasy Battle. Like, you know, playing 40k, me and my friends started doing 40k.
Yeah.
And then we're like, well, let's try Fantasy Battle. So we both all got like armies, and I've got a massive like Empire army and stuff, all made, not painted, but made. And then as soon as that happened, the end time started happening, and then Age of Sigmar came out. So now I've got a boatload of Age of Sigmar stuff that needs to be made. I've got some painted stuff in there.
Is that stuff you painted? Was that?
No. That stuff that
It's
isn't
really nice.
No, that was really good. I do think is with me in painting, I'm actually quite good But one, I am super, super critical of everything I do. So what I'll do is I'll paint something and be happy with it, and then the next day I'll come back and I'll look at it in the light of day and just go, that's fucking shit. And I'll put it in some Dettol and start again. I can't help myself. It's really bad.
Can't. That's a beautiful thing. And to anyone that's obviously starting painting, always keep your first miniature. I still have my first ever painted miniature, and see, looking at that and then looking at like a miniature that I paint now, it's mind blowing. It's just crazy. It's like, oh, look at that improvement.
Do you know what? I can remember the first miniature I ever painted. I don't have it, but I can remember it. Like, I remember my father bringing me back. Because my dad and my uncle and stuff, they were into sort of like historical wargaming and things like that.
Right.
They were all into that hex-based stuff with cards and stuff. But my uncle collected some like Roman stuff and they painted. And my dad wanted me, obviously, to get me into these sort of things. And he'd obviously, this was literally at the start of Warhammer 40k, so Rogue Trader. I would have been like 5 or something. This is 80,
Wow.
80 sort of like early 80s.
That makes
or
Matt
stuff.
46.
Yeah, so early, so like 40k came in the early 80s, didn't it, and stuff.
Yeah.
So I was like, I remember doing in my primary 7 in school, I did my final coursework piece on Warhammer 40k and stuff, and I had I just remember this book and stuff. Nobody understood what it was all about. But anyway, my first model I got, I remember exactly where I was doing. My dad came in and he passed me this box, and it was a Citadel box, and it had like Dark Angel green and some Bloody Angel red, and it had like a Space Marine, an Ultramarine type of blue, maybe a darker blue and stuff, and some black I think in it. And he gave me a paintbrush, and he gave me like this blister pack of Space Marines, and one of them was a Space Marine injured, and he had like a bolter shot out of his shoulder, and he had this sort of like, I've been shot sort of thing. And that was my first ever model, and I painted it black, and I put a bit of little sort of kind of like pink stuff in it. You don't know how to paint well that back then, so it was this black, pink face, sort of a bit of pink in there and stuff. And I remember like going, that's amazing, and I got a few more. And my dad at the time had in the loft in Ballycarry in my old house, this sort of like, he used to build model planes and things like that, so he had this like converted loft, and me and my brother would sit in there, and my brother would make planes, and I'd sit there and paint models, and I'd do it for ages. Horrible painting, and but it was just sort of amazing. I've got very fond memories of that.
There is something very special. Mine was a Khorne Berserker.
All right, no way.
Just for Christmas I got a Chaos Army and my brother got an Orc Army.
All right.
And put them together, and the first one I tried to paint was a Khorne Berserker.
All right, no way.
So yeah,
I can't quite remember what mine was. I can't remember if it was a Katachan, maybe. Kachkin, yeah, maybe one of them. But the one I distinctly remember was Nork Dead Orc, the Orgrin bodyguard.
Oh yeah.
And I remember that distinctly because I had to go and move my grandparents, and because I was helping them move, I was missing a day of school, and it was we were going to just a school trip, and I was gutted about it, and so my dad bought me an Orgrin, and I just remember that's the one I've still got, which is quite cool.
I think I've always been like my first 2 armies, like I remember playing, so it was me, my brother was always squats. You remember squats? He had love squats and Harlequins, which I kind of, because they're bringing back there's sort of like things like that in Age of Sigmar.
I was going to say, Space Wars have just come in with the Caradon.
No, they've got the dwarves, but they've got these new sort of like pirate type ones. Dystopia, like sort of like steampunk pirate, and they're squats, basically squats. So maybe bring them up. But he had squats and Harlequins. And I was Blood Angels and Space Wolves. I was always sort of thing. That being said, I did have what's his name? Magnus Calgar, is that the name? The Ultramarine,
guy with big fists.
I had him like sitting on his throne. That model where he was sitting on his throne.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that one.
That's pretty nice.
And so like I didn't know, but like I like the look of Blood Angels. I like the look of Space Wolves.
Yeah.
I had a Lehman Russ, that Lehman Russ that's up there, which I painted the old school one. Yeah. The first ever model I had properly painted and nice was that one. With the 2 wolves, and I bought it from a place called the Dungeon. My mum bought it for me from a place called the Dungeon in Belfast, and it was that, and it was just like, it was amazing. But my dog chewed it up, and I lost it, and I never had anything nicely painted until. And so Russell, God bless him, the gods bless him. Sorry, I'm not into that, but he got me a he found a Lehman Russ on eBay,
Wow.
and he got me it, and I painted him up and did him there. So
we noticed the wee note.
We did
on the
notice
bottom.
the message written on the
I
engineer
did sort of.
as well,
It was just a sort of, it was a good thing, because it was something, you know, I lost in my childhood, and, and I basically brought it back. Well, obviously with his help, he got me the model, and so I was really impressed with that. Yeah,
It's a very, very nice present.
yeah, it was really nice. Yeah, it was just good. It was just, here you go, man, and I was like, no way, brilliant. So that was really good. Yeah.
That is excellent. Yeah.
Also, if you're listening, my first model was No, I'm trying to think. Disasters with pets. Yeah, no. I had a Balrog once. My dog came in and just wagged its tail and goodbye, Mr. Balrog. I don't know what Gandalf had a problem with. My dog could kill it like that.
I did my first sort of like major diorama was Gandalf on Khazad-dûm.
wow.
Khazad-dûm. I've got it upstairs in my room.
Really?
But the Balrog fell off, and now looking at because I painted it ages ago, I don't like the paint job. And I'm a lot better now, so I might repaint it.
I think it's part of your history.
Yeah.
I think it's.
I just can't, you know.
Yeah, Matt looks at it and it's like, this is my mistake.
Yeah, it is. It really
This
is.
must be erased.
It is, and I'm really bad. Like, I have stuff. Like, I have models in my, like, sort of my army and stuff, which I have painted numerous times, over and over and over.
You shouldn't
and
do
over
that.
again.
You really shouldn't do that. I think it just stresses you out, and all you do is the same things. But like, I paint a lot of big box sets, like all the Zombicide series, Blood Rage, you know, these big box miniatures. And I think it's amazing when you paint your first zombie and then your last zombie, and just to see the difference. I love that. I think that's fantastic. I
know,
it shows
all I'm
character.
thinking is OCD. They look different. They must be the same.
I mean,
Oh, no wonder you like Space Marines then. Everything the same.
Oh no!
Oh, you
I
disgust me.
lose the will to live. That's why I quite like, you know, that the woman up there, the trooper, the stormtrooper and stuff. And I've got some busts and things. Individual models I enjoy doing.
Right.
If I have to do batch painting, I lose the will to live, and that's where I start.
Funny,
That's
I
why
love batch painting. I absolutely love it.
so you need to swap roles. So you need to give him all your individual models and you give him all of your batch jobs.
Yeah, but I can paint nice.
Oh.
Oh no, that wasn't a dig at yours. That was just a general.
Yeah.
I think painting's fun. I think
I
it's
enjoy
half
it. Don't
the
get me
hobby.
wrong, I enjoy it. You know, and
Time
I
it
can
takes.
happily sort of sit there and paint guys, but it's just I get to a point where I've done so much, like this sort of
Same colour.
same color. I'm like, I'm so dying here. I'm not enjoying it. Whereas I've just hitting one character and melding colors and then sort of adding things like that, and it's a bit more enjoyable to do.
Yeah.
So.
I can understand that. I mean, I'm terrible at painting and I gave up. I don't really want to spend the time to get that skill back because it's just so much effort to get back up from basically starting at 10-year-old level again.
I don't think you ever do. I don't think you ever fully lose it. A friend of mine, Pete, he hadn't painted in I think he'd said about a decade, and when he started back, he was like, you know, still really good, but now he's just phenomenal, and that's just after a year. It's all come back to him.
Yeah, I think Pete sounds like he had a good starting base.
Yeah.
Like I was taking Corn Berserkers, plastering them red, and then painting black over it a little bit, a tiny bit of gold, and the job was a good.
But did you enjoy doing it?
No.
No.
That's
He
what I mean.
didn't.
It's like, I don't mind making models when I've got nothing better to do, but when I feel like I'm forced because I need to get an army sorted, I hate it. I hate making models. It's so annoying because you have to you got to clip them out, then you got to file all the things down.
Yeah, I can agree with that. I hate making models like that. I actually had a deal with a guy when I was living in Carlisle, and I would actually paint his models if he built my models. And obviously it worked out phenomenally well for him, not so well for me, but it meant that the models were made nicely, and I think that makes a world of difference.
Yeah.
You want to die when you start painting and then you start dry brushing and it catches a mold line.
Yeah.
And you're just like, oh.
Yeah, man. I hate it and stuff, but you know, painting is the one thing we've got like a group on it's called Like a Sir Gentleman's Gaming Group on Facebook.
Right.
It's where we literally sort of talk about sort of painting and 40k and games and stuff like that. And I've got this thing: people are not allowed to put pictures of awesomely painted models on there and stuff because it makes you just feel like so inadequate. And it's like, you might think, you know, you know, I look at some of the models I've sort of pretty much finished, and I'll go, yeah, they're pretty good. You know, actually, I'm pretty pleased with those. And then somebody will come along and he's airbrushed it, and he's done all these, you know, all the sort of natural light and everything on it is done perfectly, and you're just like, I'm out. I can't paint anymore because I'm never going to be that good and stuff. And it's just
I'm fine with that though. But I think that's every aspect of life. I don't look at Usain Bolt and go, "Oh, I shouldn't go for a jog." Looking at me, it looks like I don't. But no, but I think it's there's something wonderful about how good people can be. But that doesn't mean that you're not good at it. This is becoming a motivational video. You can do it. You know, it's about that personal achievement. You've done something. And I think painting's phenomenal because you actually see what you've done with your time. You've got evidence. You're like, I did that, and I think everyone I appreciate it when people put just 3 colours on. I appreciate that they took the time to do that. And I think everyone.
Do you know what's weird, right? When I'm painting my models, I'm really super picky. But these ones I bought and stuff because I needed painted armies and things.
Yeah.
Like they're not the best. Like if I couldn't deal with those painted myself.
Yes.
But because somebody else has done them and they look good at a distance, I'm happy enough with that. It doesn't bother me.
Exactly, yeah.
But because I didn't paint them. But it's like my Space Wolves who have been literally there's multiple ones which haven't been done.
They look beautiful though. The ones you've done do look phenomenal.
But I can't sort of get myself because I'm so overly picky about how I do it, and it does my nutting. It really annoys me because I just want to have a painted army and done it properly. It's like I just can't do it, and I just forever picking at things. And
I think that's why you have to do one a day. Like that's why I try and push it like all the time on like my different sites. 1 model a day, 1 model a week, just something to get you moving. Because I think otherwise you do just sort of go.
And then it sounds like actually what Matt needs to do is 1 model a week and then lock it away so he can't actually dip it,
repaint it and repaint it.
Yeah, you need to like put them in like in a time capsule or something. Like you put the model in and you can't get it back until a year later.
Do you know what I wish somebody had told me like back in the day? Was to thin my paints. I know they do. They do it in the Warhammer community thing all the time. Always thin your paints. I never knew that, and for years and years, even when I thought I was a good painter back in the day, because it didn't, and it was just sort of slathered on. You could see all these brush strokes. Yeah, thinning your paints and layers just works magically and stuff because you're just like. You just get an even spread, and then even airbrushing things helps. You know, we've got one guy in our group. He airbrushes everything first. And then it seems like a bit of a convoluted.
Undercoat it?
Well, yeah, undercoat it, but he'll do the undercoat spray, yeah. Then he'll airbrush it, and he'll do it at certain angles. So you start off with the darker color, and then you start off with the lighter, and it gets because it's the way the light hits it. But then what he'll do is he'll varnish it in a certain way, and then he will paint the recesses, and then he'll use like a Q-tip to basically cut away all the stuff that's gone on it, and because the varnish is there, it doesn't take the paint away. So he does that, so he'll get a bit of like methylated spirit or whatever it is, and he'll get rid of it, and so you get this really even sort of look, and they're amazing looking, you know. And he can do them quite quickly. So he put some he did some Imperial Fists, so it's all airbrush to start with, and then all the fine details like all the doing the washes in the recesses and doing the eyes and things are done by hand. But because he's sort of done it and he's protected it, it works. Now, I should do that, but I'll never do that because that for some reason that added step of varnishing something and then waiting for it to dry is like, no, I just want to fucking paint it and then make all the mistakes.
I guess it's just time, isn't it? I think you can improve phenomenally just by taking that extra time to paint it. If you ask any of these painters how long it took them, they're going to reply in days, weeks, months.
Yeah.
When we're trying to complete a model in a day, in an hour, in one sitting, not possible. Not possible. I mean, the longest I've spent on a model was about a week.
So in summary, Matt, you want to be incredibly perfect first time without putting in a ton of effort.
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much. That's it. That's just my life, though. That is. I want to happen now. I don't want to have to put any effort into it.
Yeah,
that's sort of it.
You want to put in literally the exact amount of effort that you're willing to put to it.
Yeah,
and not a jot more.
Yeah, pretty much.
In fairness, that's not like a terrible.
I feel like you're having to learn a life lesson here, Matt.
No, I know. That's the thing is, I know my isms and my foibles and my issues. It's just overcoming them is something I can't do. It's just can't do it. Unfortunately, there you go. But yeah, moving on.
So, have we got? And it's normally during the podcast we will talk about things that we'd recommend. So maybe something that you started watching or reading or so on in the last couple of weeks. Is there anything, Sam, look to you that you might recommend?
Put me on the spot. What
Guardians
were we
of the
watching?
Galaxy.
Guardians of the Galaxy 2. Oh my goodness. Go and see it. On the big screen, it was phenomenal. It was just as good as the last. I wouldn't say better because it's a different movie. But oh my goodness, has it got like I was howling. There's so much character development or uncharacter development in some cases. Just amazing. Just I bet amazing.
Just can't say anything. And you literally can't say anything more because if you spoil it for me, I will stab you.
That's what I'm
There is a
trying
knife
not to
still
do.
on the table.
There is indeed.
From earlier.
Yep.
So
You didn't use your Stanley knife at all, did you?
What?
Yeah.
Slash someone? Yeah.
He
Well, I
failed.
threatened
He
your
failed.
uncle.
yeah, you failed to slash a tyre with it.
I tried to slash tire. Yeah. In my defense, the car was moving. Not very fast.
Yeah.
But it was moving.
So Guardians 2, then you really recommend it?
Oh yeah.
You're
Go
thinking
and
about that.
see it on the
Sorry,
TV.
back to
You
that. Had
Right.
we slashed the tire or shot the police would have come at the time when we were chanting, and would have seen the zombies and stuff.
Well, I think
Potentially.
if we'd actually slashed the tire and he hadn't got away, he wouldn't have got away.
Yeah.
But if he'd gotten away with the tyre slashed, I think the police would have turned up before the zombies.
Yeah, probably. That's what Ben would have done.
Yeah, it's exactly what Ben would have done. It's his cat.
It's so annoying, man. They sits there last night. For some reason, my cat was fucking around in like near the cupboard for some unknown reason. Just wanted to be pissing me off at like 3 o'clock in the morning, and I was just getting fuck up, stop it. And it just sort of stopped for a bit, and I tried to get my sight, and I went Russell.
Yeah,
I think that's cats.
that's cats for you.
Yeah.
Yes. Eva
Cats are
and
brilliant whenever you're trying to play a board game. They would just jump straight into the middle
Yep.
of
Mate.
the board game.
Worst one that's ever happened to me. Right, we were playing Axis and Allies Global, which is basically it's about the size of this table. That's how big the game is and stuff. You know, it's. Have you ever played Axis and Allies?
No,
before?
I don't. You told me about it. It sounds
Yeah, it's basically Risk, World War II Risk, but more complicated, and it's huge, and it can take anywhere between 8 and 14 hours, depending on sort of what sort of the points, the victory points you do. And we were playing it, and we were getting to a very sort of crucial point, and Eva decided to jump into the middle of the board and knock everything off, and I was just like, no! Luckily, I'd taken photographs of it, of the board to put on
few minutes
like
ago.
a few before, so we were able to sort of salvage it, but it was just like, you fucking threw the cat away. It's like,
Oh dear, cats.
Yeah.
When we used to play some of the really massive apocalypse games, my parents had an Irish wolfhound, and so sometimes it would just walk into the room and it would have its head on the because we played on like a pool table, and it's like it'd be like, well, if that Titan there is 3,500 points, how much is that dog? It's about 40,000 points. Yeah, I like to imagine that when pets do that, they do imagine themselves as Godzilla. Smashing up armies.
yeah.
I mean, have you ever seen a cat when it's trying to knock something off the side? You can see what it's thinking. You're like, no, and it's like, what you gonna do? What you gonna do?
Yeah, it really is. Cats are dicks,
Yeah.
basically. They really
They
are.
are. They're just like, I think this is not kind of a unique opinion, but if cats were not as adorable looking as they are, no one would have them as pets.
Yeah.
Because they just run around shitting and scratching and biting.
I just
everything.
keep finding dead mice all over the house. Like, Eva is like...
Are you certain that's not Ali?
Yeah, it could be Ali. It could be my housemate. Just like, I got your present, man. I got your present. I left it underneath the sofa for you. Because that's where I find them. They're always underneath the sofa or something. I don't know. So I'm just like, something smells weird. So I'm looking around. There's fucking dead mice under there.
That is annoying.
Yeah.
When I was at university, moving out of my first student digs, we had I had my PC table in the corner of the room, and that's definitely going to get picked up on the mics. And I had my PC table in the corner of the room, and like a chair behind it, and so you kind of get up. At that point, I was playing loads of like late night PC gaming. So when it came to move out,
By late night PC gaming, he means pornography.
same thing.
There's a controller.
We go to move out. It was like a really dark carpet, and we moved like the table and so on, and it was like, what's this? Picked it up. It was a dead, flattened rat, like a really young one. And what had happened is at some point one of those nights, I had crushed it with my PC, with my gaming chair, not known it, and it'd been there for like months and months. So this part of the carpet was like horrific, and I had to throw out this dead rat, and it was me and my mum doing it. Like, we're never going to speak of this again, and I've just broken that vow.
No, okay.
But, yeah,
There went your deposit, that's for sure.
Yeah, no, I don't think the landlord noticed because it was in Bradford.
Oh, right.
So-
Okay. All right, so
It was grim
fairly
anyway.
manky
It was
anyway,
grim,
yeah.
very grim. Like, we didn't notice the smell of dead rats, so it was pretty grim.
I used to live in Salford when I went to university there, and we had like some pretty great. It was called Castle Irwell, which it's not there anymore, but it was really good. You know, for being a student, there was loads of people there. You know, you just wander into each other's houses and drink, and sort of, it was generally really awesome. But the beds and everything were horrible. It was really like, there were ex-convict beds from jails and stuff. You know, they were that small. You couldn't. I remember my girlfriend at the time would stay over, and you couldn't fit two in a bed. Like, it was that bad. But I remember once my mum was picking me up to take me home to Northern Ireland for the summer, and it was I remember this very, very specifically. It was the year that hardcore pornography had been legalized in the UK, and so being as
Family show.
This isn't a family show. This really isn't.
Before, obviously, this was before RedTube and all those things you could get, sort of, you know, free porn or whatever. So me and my friends took ourselves down to Tib Street in Manchester, and we purchased ourselves some hardcore pornography, and went, yes. And I watched it. I had like 3 DVDs. I watched them, got bored, and gave them to my mate, and then forgot all about them. You know, just didn't really think about them. And then, like, months and months later, my mum's picking me up.
Yeah.
And she's like, "Oh, Matthew, you got everything?" I was like, "Yeah, Mum, I think I was about to say goodbye to her." My mate Kev rocks up. He's like, "Oh, Matt," because he's Scottish. "Oh, Matt, he's from Dumfries." And he's just like, "Oh, mate, you've forgotten something." As he produces these 3 pornographic, he went, "Here you go, you forgot your DVDs, Mum. What's those?" "They're not mine, Mum." He's lying. "They're not mine." He's like, "Kev, take them away." "Oh, mate, they're yours." And I was like, "No, they're really not mine." And then he's just like, I was like, "Mum, let's go."
Please tell me she actually saw them and turned around and went, "Oh, that's a good one."
Yeah, no, this is it, because my mum, you know, my mum's like she's from Oxford, she's quite sort of like proper and stuff, but I borrowed like years ago, one of the DJs in the old metal club where I came from, he's like, "Oh, Matt, you know, I've got some porn, do you want some?" And I was like, "Yeah, okay." So he lent me some porn, like bukkake porn and some really grim stuff, yeah. And he gave me like these 3, like, this was back when it was tapes, you can have tapes and stuff, yeah. And he gave me these tapes, and so I watched them, and then put them in my room on the side, and then went back to Manchester, forgot all about them, yeah. Nothing was said. I came back at Christmas, yeah. I went, shit, better find those tapes and give them back to Kenny. I couldn't find them. And then I looked, and they were alphabetized on my fucking side. So my mum had cleaned my room, got these porn, and stuck them in my shelf of my book, but in alphabetical order. So like Anal Treat 3, Come Bukkake Party 4, and that was just like, oh my god. And she didn't say anything about it, not one word.
Your mum is amazing.
Yeah,
Your mum is absolutely spectacular.
But here's another thing about my mum, right? We were when I was slightly older, about sort of 18, I used to have like this little sort of pot thing where I put my condoms in the pot, so nobody would find them, you know, in my mind. So if I ever needed a condom when I was going out, I was protecting, so I had something, yeah. And my sister was moaning because she's 4 years, so she would have been like 22 or something like that.
That's a terrible segue. So I've always got condoms, got protection. My sister was moaning, "Are you a Lannister?"
No, but she's 22, and she was moaning at my mom and dad because they wouldn't let her have any boys in her room and stuff, and I was allowed girls in my room and stuff because I was 18. And my dad would always say, that's just like, you know, it's different. If Matthew gets a girl up the duff, then that's her father's problem. If you get up the duff, that's my problem and stuff. So no, that's how that happened. So he wouldn't let, you know, my sister have anybody in her room, whereas I was allowed girls in my room. And then my sister was like, you know, "Well, Matthew's having sex. He's got condoms in his room." And my mom just looked around and went, "I know." So she'd obviously seen them but hadn't said anything, you know. So it was just like, that's his mum's for you. So she alphabetized my porn, found my condom stash, and yeah. So
How did we get onto this? It went from first experiences of painting to first experiences of horrific experience with your mum. I don't. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, this is how the Geek Pride podcast goes. This is the standard fare for us.
With an almost heroic level of trying to segue back in, cats. Moving on from one type of pussy to another one. It's a funny thing is dogs you see a lot of in board games and miniature games. You actually get dogs a lot. You also get werewolves a lot. Mm-hmm. You don't get cats.
that's because they don't give a fuck.
That's because you can't control a cat. Like a dog, you can order around.
Interesting. I realised this, but this year, 2 models already have been released, which is interesting. Massive Darkness is coming out. Massive Darkness is made by the same guys, Cool Many or Not, maybe Guillotine Games. And what it is instead of just zombies, it's now like a dungeon crawler. It's amazing. I backed it to the hilt on Kickstarter. I'm hoping to preview it on this. But they brought out a were-tiger. And so it's like a big tiger in armour with weapons. And actually, Cool Many or Not, Wrath of Kings have just brought out one, a Celestial Guardian for the Shalhan faction. I just thought it was interesting that the fact those two had appeared the same year. Same company, Cool Many or Not.
There you go.
There you are.
Yeah, but yeah, cats are dicks, as we said. They don't listen. You just be like, hey, let's do this. You know, go in front of me. No.
Yeah,
Just look
the
at you go.
idea of being able to control a cat as a miniature is just, it's laughable. That's why you don't have
And in a way, you should have one, and it literally should be like you have to roll a 1 every time for it to literally do anything. You know,
it would be like a fanatic for Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
Not Lord of the Rings. Warhammer like
fanatic.
random direction, random damage can be friendly.
Let's roll this. So it's like, Eva, come to me. No,
Nope, 64.
64. Right,
No.
Eva, go to that door. No,
62.
No, really not
Getting
interested.
closer.
Yeah, it's just,
I think that there should be a plus on that as well. It should be something like plus 20 difficulty.
yeah, they're just not interested at all.
No.
It's just like, no. You have to have some cat treats with you, kind of going, ooh, look at this over here.
I have played a card game called, in fact there's a couple, there's Exploding Kittens.
I played that yesterday for the
Got,
first time.
Yeah, it's a very good game. Kittens in a Blender is another one.
Right.
Yeah, it's quite a good one.
Imploding Kittens is the newest one. Imploding
Oh,
Kittens.
is that's by the same people who did
Is Exploding Kittens?
Sure, I
Yeah.
didn't realise. Apparently, Exploding Kittens was one of the best sort of Kickstarters they've ever had. You know,
Yeah.
the most funded.
Because it was done by Oatmeal. The guy who does the Oatmeal comic.
Oh, right, okay,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
All the artwork's done by him.
The very best thing about the Kickstarter was if you got the box of Kickstarter, it went meow,
Yes.
meow. Every time you opened it, I would buy the game just for that. I don't even like cats.
My housemate Ali, he bought a watch when we were in San Diego Comic Con, a Star Wars watch with a Wookiee on it. Simply because when you open the box, it went like that. It did that.
Have you ever done that thing where you walk around the house trying to make different objects go like you can get chairs and cans of Coke? Well, that was an epic fail.
Yeah. Just like your dice rolls.
Who saved the world?
That's
Who
true.
saved the world?
It's true.
Uh-huh.
It's true. You're a selfish bastard, but you saved us all.
True. It is.
It's because I left them to die. Well, I didn't leave you to die. I just left
You just sort of kind of went right. It's
Didn't
gone,
care.
and then you just went.
Just
I don't
didn't care
care.
if we died. Yeah, that was the main thing.
A whole new world just for me.
Yeah. But yeah, that was
Right,
it.
so obviously, any recommendations then?
Is there any
That's where we
recommendations?
started.
Well, a while back I was watching with my girlfriend Daredevil. Because of course the
series.
Yes, they've just got all of the.
If that'd been the
What are
film,
they called? Defenders.
get out! Yeah, the Defenders is coming
Defenders
soon,
it is, yeah. Really loved Luke Cage. Really
Really? Did
enjoyed.
you?
I
Oh,
didn't-
yeah,
I didn't
yeah.
enjoy it as much.
I didn't
Yeah, I'm a
really
big fan
enjoy
of
it.
Luke Cage. It was the first of the ones that I watched.
Then
Then I watched Daredevil, and I thought
Daredevil was
Daredevil
amazing.
was good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Then I watched Jessica Jones. Didn't really like it.
Oh, I quite like Jessica Jones. I
I watched them in
David
order.
Tennant made it.
Yeah, he did. Oh, he was such a good bad guy.
He was a good bad
What
guy,
was it,
that's
Mr.
to be
Purple or
Yeah,
something?
Mr. Purple is whatever. It's some really shitty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he's got a good. I think he's got a good sort of superpower and be able to just basically tell people what to do
Yeah,
and stuff.
exactly.
And I like the fact with him that he, in a way, he liked her so much. He was trying to do good in a way, but
That bit where he was like, "Yeah, how many people do I have to save in order to be considered good?" And it's like, wow.
yeah.
It was great.
Yeah.
I was all right with Luke Cage, but I haven't watched Immortal Iron Fist yet. 'Cause I don't
Yeah,
really care that much.
I don't either.
No, neither do I.
Yeah.
Didn't
I've
give a
heard
hoot
some.
about it.
I don't usually go with reviews. I'll just watch it, but I just don't have any motivation to do it and stuff.
Yeah.
I really, really super enjoyed both series of Daredevil, Luke Cage. I just didn't
I
think
thought the villain was just superb.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
Really
What's his
liked him.
name?
Cottonmouth.
Cottonmouth. Yeah.
Oh,
It's a shame that he
amazing.
died so early, because if he'd been...
Spoiler!
Well, it's been out. It's been out more than a year.
Yeah.
If he hadn't died so early, I think that series would have had a lot more potential.
Oh, but she's good.
She is good,
She's
but
good.
I really liked...
What did they change?
Uh,
Well, who was the other guy? Who basically
Hammerhead.
Hammerhead. Yeah.
That was wanky.
Yeah, but I didn't think the fight scenes in Luke Cage were as good as Daredevil and stuff. They were a bit. I know he's a bit more slow and muscly and stuff, but even so, it just seemed a bit like
I guess that's because that's the kind of cat hero I like.
Yeah.
I like my heroes invincible. I love Superman. I people are like, oh no, but he's unkillable. Well, I actually like that.
I like Superman,
actually
don't get me
I
wrong,
find
I
it
love Superman.
slightly effective.
Like Matt loves Super. Have you not? You've been in his bathroom. Have you not seen his dressing gown?
I've got the same dressing
Yeah,
gown.
I
have
love
the
Man
same
of Steel.
dressing
I thought was amazing. I
I'm
loved it.
actually
Batman
watching
versus
it,
Superman. Okay, maybe not brilliant, but I enjoyed it. You know, I
Yeah.
don't
Love
sort of.
the animated one. If you haven't seen the animated one, watch
Yeah.
the animated.
Oh, is
Just
that
like
the one
Suicide
where-
Squad. If you haven't seen the animated Suicide Squad, definitely.
The
watch
animated
that.
one, that's that one where basically he sees Bruce, Batman. He sees that his heart's sort of feeling and stuff.
Yes,
It's your heart,
yes.
in your heart,
And
yeah.
it has the Sons of Batman in it.
Yeah,
So that would be
Vigilantes.
The Dark Knight Returns.
Yeah.
And that's very, very well done. There's also there's been a few animated films with Batman and Superman.
I think DC. I like all DC movies and DC series, the animated ones. I think up until very recently, Avengers, the sort of Marvel universe, really took it with the movies, the live action
Yeah.
movies.
Yeah.
But recently, DC have upped their game.
I think, like I'm, people will dish a Man of Steel, but I loved it. I came out of it completely buzzing. I loved it. The new Batman versus Superman wasn't as impressed, but I thought Ben Affleck made an amazing Batman.
He was a very good Batman.
He was a really good
Yeah.
Batman, and I think,
Batfleck.
and I hope that he keeps it on and he doesn't give it up and stuff, because he is a really, really good Batman. I
Yeah,
enjoy that.
I agree.
So I'm looking forward to sort of seeing. My issue with DC is that they've seen the Marvel storm to basically victory, and they thought, shit, we need to catch up, we need to sort of do this, and they're rushing things instead of developing characters as they should do. But I don't have a lot of hope that it's going to be super amazing, but I'm kind of hoping it'll be watchable.
Justice League, I think. Yeah,
Oh.
it seems like they have taken some lessons.
Yeah.
But we'll see.
But yeah, I hope they
can't
do
wait.
the Batman movie, because there was a lot of things with directors and what's
Yeah.
happening, and I just hope to do that, because I think because he gets a lot of grief, and I think he's shown that as Batman, I think he's really good,
He
and
is.
I think he'll
I
be a
agree.
good Batman. So yeah.
Yeah. So, a recommendation then was for Daredevil. If anyone's not watched Netflix and the Marvel series, they definitely should. It's still my secret hope that they will tie it in some way to the cinematic universe, but I doubt they're going to. Matt, anything from you?
Recommendations. What have I done recently? We're playing Dawn of War 3. I'm not sure if I want to recommend it though yet, because I'm not sure if I like it or not.
Right.
It's one of those. I've only played it, like we streamed it the other night, and I'm always a fan of those sort of games, but they've changed the mechanics of it slightly, and it's more of a. It's like a hybrid between sort of League of Legends, Dota, and Dawn of War 1. But you can base build, but there's not a lot of variety. It literally is more a case of getting 2 points and then destroying sort of key areas and stuff.
I mean, the whole base building thing never really gelled well for me with Warhammer anyway, because the tabletop is nothing like
Yeah, I
that.
understand
You don't base build at all. And so I understand that was like a standard real-time strategy setup, but I didn't think it clicked like universally.
Well,
think it
I
would
can
have been-
understand that, but it doesn't. This game, I don't think it's sort of the games. If you want to have a Warhammer 40k style game, then you need the turn-based ones in a way.
Like Total War sort of thing.
Yeah. I kind of like the Total War ones. Yeah. You'll never. I don't think you've ever been able to get there's a game called Sanctus Reach from Slytherin, which is a turn-based Space Wolves versus Orcs in their Battle of Armageddon, and it's basically it's like a tabletop game, The thing about Dawn of War and stuff like that, you're either going to get people who will tank rush and stuff like that, and you've got to do a lot of micromanagement, or you'll have the ones like the one that is now, where it's not really a lot of people who have enjoyed the tabletop game don't enjoy Dawn of War 3 because it's nothing like the tabletop game. Everything moves really fast. You can get things. It literally seems to be get as many units as you can and fire them forward.
Did you ever play the original Hexagon sort of way back then? And you had sort of Eldar.
Yes,
and you had
it was like epic.
Tyrannus.
It was like epic and stuff.
Yeah, it was.
It had bolt. It had bolt thrower
or something like that. What was it called? Flames of War, Avatars of War,
possibly. But it had. All I know is it had bolt thrower as the music for it and stuff because they always had the Warhammer sort of things. But yeah, that sort of game for me. I like epic games, big games, and that one was great because it looked like in Warhammer for me, it should be like everything sort of big. There should be big armies, there should be titans, there should be like hundreds of guys and stuff, and I like that idea. So that game, the epic type was amazing, and that's why I kind of hope they're going to bring back epic. Yeah. They're bringing back Titanic. I think I can't remember what it's called, Titanicus or something.
That was with all the Titans.
Yeah, with all the Titans, but that's how that started with Epic.
Yeah.
So they'll bring back little ones and stuff.
Well, have you played? It's not called Twilight of the Imperium. That's a different game. That's a really good game. If you haven't played it, it takes days to play though. No, it was Forbidden Stars. Forbidden Stars.
I've got it there. I played it. We played it on.
Yeah, it's right there. It's underneath Super Dungeon.
Oh yeah. So you can get like spaceships, and you can get
Yeah.
What did you think of that?
Yeah, it was good. We played. I think we streamed it actually. We fucked up the stream, but we were streaming it.
That seems the story of you streaming.
Yeah, it's a lot harder. It's a lot harder than you think it is. But yeah, we streamed it, and it's a good game. Another issue is it had potential to have so many more expansions, but because now Games Workshop aren't in bed with Fantasy Flight, we're not going to get anything more from them. So it just ended before it started. It's the same that Conquest, the card game,
stopped as well because it was Fantasy Flight.
What? So I've got loads. I've got all expansions and stuff for it, but that's it. There's no more because they're not doing it anymore.
I mean, fans are brilliant. We have a lot of the best fans in the world actually when it comes to board games. Is you can always find someone's made like a print and play sort of thing. It's just a pity nobody will ever be able to. I think another tragic loss was the Marvel miniatures games by Night Models. Tragically cut the sort of beginning of this year, end of last year, because they'd lost the license. Now they're doing DC. Now, in actual fact,
is that the Batman game?
It's not the Batman game. The Batman game is where you get heroes, but you also get scrubs. You get police, etc., etc. The superhero game is purely characters. And so they've moved from Marvel now to DC. So it sort of ties in with the Batman. I think there's just rumours about it, but Marvel apparently threw a bit of a wobbly and didn't want them to do Batman as well. So now they're doing DC, which is fine because I'm a DC fanboy through and through. I got Lobo as a miniature. You don't know what that means. You do not know what that means.
I understand that.
I'm the main man. What's up, Justice Dweebs?
Right. So I think we should roll to see if we end the podcast or not.
Okay, I was going to recommend something, but let's do the finger of fate first.
Let's do that.
So what we're rolling?
Right, what was
we're rolling a D10 and a D8.
Yeah.
So what are we looking for?
What was one of your skill levels? We'll say so 75. So
75.
75.
Okay.
So we need.
Do you want me to roll? And that way we're guaranteed.
Yeah. Under 75.
Under 75.
Under 75 means that means we continue.
We can carry on. Yeah.
Okay. So what do I want it to be? Because of course it has to roll the opposite.
I
want it to continue.
35.
Wow, I did
Carry on then. There we go.
We get to hear what your special was.
Finish with my recommendation, and then we can kind of roll on out.
So were we rolling to just not let you talk?
Sorry, I forgot. I'm sorry, I forgot. I was just like, we were going to.
Matt's just like, fuck you, Sean.
Yeah, fuck you, Sean.
Yes. So my recommendation would be, have either of you ever played the Phoenix Wright games?
No.
The DS one with the lawyer.
Yes.
I played one of them. Yeah.
Right, so I just recommend the whole series. I think it's one of the best series of games ever made. But at the moment, I'm playing. There's a spin-off called Edgeworth Investigates, which was about one of the investigators. And so, because you've never played them, let me explain how these kind of work. They're like point and click adventures.
Kind of like Monkey Island and stuff.
Kind of.
Wait for it.
Except you are a defense lawyer who is defending people from some of the most insane and ridiculous crimes in existence.
Right.
And every trial can last a maximum of 3 days. That includes investigation time and everything. And you're going up against corrupt prosecutors and incredibly well detailed schemes that people have, and it's
How do you win the game?
how you win the game is by you listen to testimony given by other people, and you find inconsistencies between that and the evidence that you have discovered to that point. And so it's in 2 phases. It's discovering the evidence and connecting things together, and then hearing what witnesses, what the person you really think did it, what the accused all say, and finding inconsistencies and disproving their theories and so on.
I absolutely love Matt's face. It is the perfect face of someone when you are describing this game to them. But I have to agree with Sean, it's a phenomenal game.
It's honestly, it's incredible. It's like, it's a silly Japanese comedy, whilst also being a
Objection!
Yeah. That's currently my text message tone is objection. Yes, but it's like a farce of errors, whilst also having like Macbeth level murder and crime, and your boss dies in the first mission of the first game, but that doesn't mean you stop interacting with her because her sister is a medium. Like, it's insane. In the last game I played from the main series, you actually cross-examine an orca.
Okay. a wheel?
Yes.
Right.
And you've got to disprove what the orca is saying with evidence. It's amazing. Oh.
Do you know it was even better though? So it's strange enough as is, yeah, a lawyer, right? But did you know that they took Phoenix Wright and they added him into Marvel vs. Capcom?
Yes, he was in Marvel vs. Capcom games. He was a fighting character that you could have with Marvel vs. Capcom. And so he wouldn't actually fight. The way he fought was by presenting evidence that was like a gun that shot you or something that exploded. It was incredible.
Or his pretty little secretary would run in and tackle him.
You, yeah.
And his ultimate move was like a judge going, "Guilty!" Boom! Amazing.
But I'm currently playing one of the spin-off, Edgeworth Investigates 2, which was never brought over to the UK, but fans have translated it, so I'm playing a fan version of that, and it's incredible. I'm clearly not advocating crime, but were you of such a nature, it's an astonishingly good game. Is the second one in that series. I recommend just Phoenix Wright to everyone. It's like the base game itself. They've made an anime out of it now, and they made a film.
I did not know that.
The live action film, and they made an anime out of it. And it's absolutely fantastic. It's just incredible. And if you've never played a Phoenix Wright game, I truly recommend it, because you can get them on like iPhone and things like this now as well. They've been ported over. Matt's grimacing at me like I'm never going to do this, Sean.
Oh, you never know. Maybe I'm like to try different things now. You know.
Yeah, clearly.
So,
I really recommend it. It is very, very funny, and it has one of the most satisfying moments in video games for me, which is where you finally have torn down all the defenses of the bad guy, and they explode and like they melt down in the most amazing ways. So in one I literally just last night at like 10:30 just kind of beat a mission, and you kind of see the meltdown. There was this woman in a massive fur coat that had like a dog around her neck as a scarf, and her breakdown was she starts screaming and crying and goes "ah!" and her fur coat is actually lots of little dogs that jump away from her, and she's wearing just like a really silly outfit underneath, and she goes "no!" and she gets she knows she's going down from there.
All I can say is that is a rough ending.
And on that bombshell, I say it's time to end.
Well, no, I say we roll. So it was 75.
Yeah, now it's down to 4.
We ended on a pun, man. Like,
Yeah, exactly.
Oh
If you roll under 4, we keep going.
All right. Okay.
Right?
Okay.
Okay, here we go.
Oh,
Right.
and on that dice
And
roll,
on that dice roll, I have been Sean Wallace.
I have been Matt Geary.
I've been Sam Larry.
Thanks for listening or watching, everyone.